By definition, an antenna is a metal whip designed to receive and transmit radio signals within a given area.
It's BS in the Morning on KSLQ and Westplex 107.1.
It is BS.Show, an old Roy Orbison song, believe it or not. Going back a little bit for that one, that's actually a naughty. I think that came out in, 2002, 2003? Celine Dion, did you know that one? I do know that, Brad. That's so good. Shelley, do you ever drive at 40 miles an hour on the interstate? All the time. I'm right behind you. Okay.
And I'm passing you in the right lane.
I heard this last night. Thought to myself, can this be true? And I did some research on it. You think we got problems with the police here in St. Louis? Police quitting? New York City.
Sometimes I do, yes.
New York City, last year, 2022, 3,701 police officers left the ranks of the New York City Police Department.
Wow.
1,955 retired and 1,746 just quit. Now, once again, they lost over 3,700 officers last year. In 2021, they lost 2,811. In 2020, during the pandemic thing, they lost 3,315 police officers. Now, keep in mind that if they have a full class at the academy, if they have a full class and graduate every single police officer, it's only 1,200 police officers through the academy in a year. So they've lost almost, well, according to this, if 1,200 times 3 would be 3,600. They've lost 3 years worth of academy grads in 1 year in 2022. You know, I know there's all this stuff going on with the Tyree thing in Memphis and the whole bit. I still don't understand why Al Sharpton and the new guy, the guy who's going to take him over, this attorney, what's this guy's name, the black guy who every time there's a thing he shows up and he's his parents, whoever they got beat up or killed or something like that, he's now the new attorney guy. He's just flying all over the country. They're saying this is white, because of white people that they beat that poor guy in Memphis to death. Okay, explain it.
But they weren't white.
It was. I don't understand it. 5 black cops. They beat the daylights out of a black dude.
It really doesn't matter what color they are. What matters is that this man lost his life.
Well, once again, I agree with you. But yet they're saying, well, it's not. Like the Minneapolis thing was the George Floyd thing. It was 5 white dudes killed a black guy. Well, actually, one guy killed him, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, we won't talk about that anymore. Lots of stuff to talk about this morning. Crazy stuff. Yesterday. Do you know about this deal? Yesterday they had this big deal up in Washington State where the very last 747 came off the production line.
Aww.
And it was delivered. Matter of fact, they haven't made a passenger 747 in a while. This is like a cargo plane. And it's interesting. You know who one of the guest speakers was at this? They had a memorial, service, like a celebration of the last one. And they had all these various people come out and talk about it. And the guest speaker was, and it was a surprise guest speaker. You'll never guess. If I gave you 100 guesses, you'll never guess who showed up and made a presentation at the unveiling of the last 747 to roll off the line at Boeing's place up there in Washington. Take a guess. I'll give you 3 guesses.
Donald Trump.
No, I'll give you a guess in that it's a movie star and it's a guy.
Richard Gere.
No, and I'll give you a little bit more of a hint. He is a movie star who has had tons and tons and tons of hit movies, and he is also a certified 747 pilot.
John Travolta.
Exactly. John Travolta showed up and made a guest appearance. John Travolta, I believe, still has his own 707, which is the old 4-engine Boeing. That was like the first jet engine plane that Boeing came out with that became a very successful commercial airliner. And the reason the 747 is going out of production, except for
room for the 757.
No, 757. I don't even know if they make those anymore or not. I think they're.
I didn't even know they made them. I was.
Oh yeah, they made that
silly.
Was matter of fact the 757. I think 2 of the planes that crashed into the World Trade Center back on 9/11 were 757s. Anyway, the reason is because almost all the planes now have gone back to 2 engines. It used to be the way the rules were, and I believe these were international rules. I knew they were FAA rules, but if you had a passenger plane that carried, I think, more than 50 people, and it went across an ocean like the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean, it had to have at least 3 engines. So most of the planes that flew back and forth between, back in the day, the 707s had 4 engines. And then they came out with the 727, which had 3 engines. And then they changed the rules because the engines have become much more reliable. And not only that, they become much more sophisticated and powerful so that even if you're down to 1 engine, you can still safely fly the plane. I'm thinking to myself, I don't know about that if you're over the Atlantic Ocean. See, it's interesting because I read this also too, and I didn't even realize this. When you fly from United States into Europe, like let's say you're flying from New York to Heathrow in England, you're always within a couple hundred miles of land. And typically they're flying at 30, 40,000 feet. They're way up there. So if they lose the engines, conceivably they could glide to like Iceland or Greenland or something like that. Okay? In the Pacific, different story. Once you get off the coast of the United States, there's nothing. Because there are really no islands, of any consequence between the United States, continental United States, and Hawaii. And that's like, I don't know, how many thousand miles it's a long way to Hawaii. When you leave, even if you fly from LA, I think it's like 5 or 6 hours, something like that.
Is it really?
Yes.
Because Tiffany and I, along with her bonus daughter, Eden, are going to Hawaii.
When?
We haven't decided.
Oh, so in other words, you're going to leave me here and I'm going to be stuck here doing the show by myself for like 2 weeks?
No, I'll just do it from there.
Yeah, right.
I will.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No?
Yeah. And you know what time you'll have to get up in the morning? You have to get up at like 2 o'clock in the morning because...
I'm up every morning at that time anyway.
Because right now it's 7:13 in the morning. In Denver, it's 6:13. In LA, it's 5:13. In Hawaii, I think it'd be like 2:13 or 1:13 or something like that right now in Hawaii. So you just stay up late from partying. You just party.
Yeah, that's me, the partier.
Party your head off and, hey, I got to be back at the hotel room. I got to do my show. And we go on the air at 1 o'clock, right?
Yes, I'm going to drive back in my BMW.
What? From Hawaii?
Isn't that funny?
Okay. Okay. This is interesting. You know who Bernie Sanders is, right?
I do.
Bernie Sanders is a socialist. And I don't know if you ever heard this story. When him and his wife got married, guess where they honeymooned?
I have no clue.
Oh, the honeymoon capital of the world, Moscow, Russia.
I bet that was beautiful.
Who honeymoons in Moscow? Bernie does. Okay. Self-proclaimed Democratic Socialist Bernie Sanders has critics calling out hypocrisy and asking why he's suddenly apparently embracing capitalism for an upcoming book tour. If you want to meet Bernie Sanders, the book is going to be the book is called "It's Okay to Be Angry About Capitalism." He's anti-capitalist. Okay, the book sells for $22, and you can go online and go to a special signing session where you can meet him personally for $95. Mr. Socialist, yes, you can meet him, and
everyone always has a little getcha, don't they?
Well, but once again, if you know the
how
whole,
can I monetize this? I know.
Well, but the whole idea
what about
behind
this? How can we monetize this?
He's an He's an anti-capitalist, but he has 3 houses. It's like, okay, let me think about this.
Raise a charm.
Well, that's like somebody saying, I don't like fancy cars, but I have a Rolls Royce, a Mercedes, a Ferrari, and a Lamborghini.
Bentley.
Okay, and a Bentley. Okay, no, hold on a minute. I thought you didn't like. Oh, I don't like fancy cars. You got it. Well, my Lamborghini's not that fancy. It's one of the base models, and my Ferrari, it's one of the cheaper ones. Yeah, well, right. A new Ferrari starts at like $500,000. Well, I didn't pay that for it. It had a little scratch on the fender. I paid $425 for it. Okay, whatever. People are calling him out saying, "Okay, Bernie," and $95 to see him. And there's a comment said, "Why would you want to pay $95? We can watch him all day for free on C-SPAN." which is pretty funny, which is true. Bernie Sanders, $95. Hold on, here's another one. All these things to talk about this morning. I was going to tell my story.
Tell your story.
Today's Thursday, right?
It is.
This happened to me on Tuesday.
It's Groundhog Day, Brad.
It is. And I just heard that Puxatawny Phil saw his shadows. That means 6 more weeks of winter.
Did he really?
Yeah. But who pays attention to that anyway? Yeah, that's a little rodent. Let's take him out.
Where's Pez when you need him?
Right. Where's Pez Control? Hey, Pez guys.
Josh Pezimenti, you need to get up there and teach that
go get
rodent what for in here too.
Go get that Phil guy. Put him in a trap. Send him somewhere. Okay.
Yeah. Relocate him.
Last week on my phone, I have an AT&T phone. Okay. Last week, I got a text, and it's not the first time I've gotten this text. I've gotten this text for several times. For 20 years, I had a phone with Sprint. When Sprint merged with T-Mobile, they were going to change the plans all around. I'll shop it around. So I went to AT&T. Okay. Occasionally, I get this text. Let me pull it up, see if we can find it real quick here. Matter of fact, I screenshotted it because when I went to the AT&T store to essentially plead my case of what the heck was going on, I get this text, and it says, we hope you're enjoying your wireless service. We have a limited time payment offer that may lower your monthly charges if needed. Please call us today at 888-789-9730. Okay? So I've gotten this message back in October. I got it back in November, and I got it last Wednesday. So I called the number Thursday night. And a nice guy from AT&T answers the phone. Hi, how can I help you? I mean, a real live person answered the phone. And I said, I got this text message. And he says, oh, yeah. He says, what's your phone number? I'm thinking, okay, that's sort of weird. Wouldn't he have it come up on caller ID? So I give him my phone number. So he says, oh, yeah, we can help you out. Matter of fact, we can take $70.83 off this month's bill. I said, okay, fine. So he says, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to text you a link. And he says, I need to pay the balance of your bill minus the $70.83. I'll text you a link, and you can just plug in your credit card, and you can pay that. And he says, I'll stay on the phone with you because I'll see when it goes through the system. So I said, okay, fine. I was driving at the time, so I pulled over and got out my credit card and punched in my credit card number. And, a couple seconds. Okay, I just saw it come through. Okay, you're all paid up, and we've deducted from your payment. In other words, he gave me what the payment amount was minus the $70.83, which I paid.
Okay.
So he says, you're all current, okay? Tuesday morning, I go to use my phone after I get off the air, and I try to make a call, and I get the dong, dong, dong. Your phone has been disconnected for lack of payment. And I'm going, well, hold on a minute now. I just paid it Thursday with that dude on the phone. So I'm going like, okay, I'll talk to a person. Well, you can no longer, if your phone is disconnected, at least back in the day, you could talk to someone. You couldn't make phone calls on it, but you could talk to somebody at AT&T. You could no longer do that. If your phone's disconnected, your cell phone's disconnected, you have to pay. You can't, in other words, your phone has now become a brick. It will do nothing. You can't talk to a live body. They're holding you hostage. You got to pay the bill. So I'm going like, I paid my bill last Thursday. So I think to myself, OMG, I got scammed. That wasn't a real deal. So I go to the office, and I pull up the computer, and I pull up my credit card bill, and sure enough, it says AT&T. You paid, the majority of the bill. It was like $120 or something like that. So I'm going like, okay, I don't quite understand what's going on here. My phone's disconnected. It shows that money went to AT&T, but I can't call AT&T. So I drove down to the AT&T store there in Mid-Rivers Mall, right in front of the Deerbergs, right off of 364. Okay, you know what we're talking about. Not too far from your house.
Right.
I walk in. There's a bunch of people there. They take your name, and, and finally they call you. I sit down at this table with a lady, and I explain to her, and she looks at me. She says, sir, you've been scammed. I go, that's what I was afraid of. She says, and I showed her the text message. She says, that's not one of our numbers. We don't know what number that is. We don't ever do that. We never give anybody a discount. Yeah, thanks, AT&T. They never give anybody a discount. She says, the problem is you're going to have to pay your entire bill over again because you have been scammed. And what was interesting was I also, when I was at the office, I screenshotted my credit card bill, and I go, well, look, here's where it said the payment went to. It's AT&T. It's got your information on the whole bit. She says, well, they were just probably, what do you call it? Faking, phishing. It was like phishing account that, it was like AT&T, AT-T mobility or something like that. It's some fake account, that was close to them. So she says, you'll have to pay the entire account. So she grabs her little tablet. She says, let me see how much that is. Because she says, you can make a credit. I said, in other words, I got scammed out of whatever, $170 or whatever it was. She says, yes, I'm sorry to tell you that. Then she gets this weird look in her face. She goes, well, hold on a minute now. It shows that you did make that payment last week. And I go, well, then why is my phone turned off? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
My phone was turned off because the discount the guy was supposed to give me didn't happen. And I was $70.83 short on my bill. So they turned me off because of the fact that I had the discount the guy gave me, which he didn't give me. And they turned me off. And now I have to pay. So I had to pay her the $70.83 to get my phone turned back on. Plus they charged me $40 disconnect fee. And I go,
oh, that's when you speak with the manager.
I'm going like, time out. I'm in the AT&T store. And that's exactly what I said. I said, are you the manager? She says, yes, I've been here 13 years. I said, can you fix this for me? She says, no, you have to call the 800 number. I said, I'm sitting in your store. This is an AT&T owned store, right? Yes.
Yes,
not a franchise. This is an AT&T owned store. You can't fix this for me? Nope, you have to call the 800 number. I'm going like, I give up. I mean, this customer service sucks. Okay, so then I get in my car and I'm frustrated. You know what happens when I get frustrated?
What?
You know what makes my day?
What?
I go eat at Freddy's.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Did I do that out loud?
I go eat at Freddy's and I'm sitting down eating I get my food, I get my burger, and I'm sitting there eating my kids' meal. And by the way, once again, inflation. A year and a half ago, you could buy a kids' meal with tax for $5.25. Then it went up to $5.40, and then $5.75. Now it's $6.50 with tax.
I went to Culver's and got a 3-piece Atlantic cod.
Yeah.
It was almost $18.
Don't tell me about it. You go to Cane's, and 3-piece chicken meal is now almost $10. It's like things have just gotten out of control.
What?
Yeah, I know, it's gotten crazy. Okay, so I go to Freddy's, and I'm sitting down at Freddy's, minding my own business, eating my food, and a lady comes up to me. Now, here's where it gets interesting because of the fact that you have told me, and the smartest woman in the world, I sent the video to them, and you've told me not to post this video because it will embarrass the woman.
You did do it, didn't you?
I did not. But I'm gonna play the audio right now. I'm sitting down at my table by myself, eating my food at Freddy's, and a lady comes up to me and starts talking to me and starts quoting Bible passages to me. And I'm going like, okay, am I being punked? Is this like a joke? Is this somebody like a hidden camera? Is this one of my friends out in the car, doing this for like a funny YouTube video where Brad's supposedly being talked to by some lady who's trying to, convert him to her church or something like that? So I said to the lady, do you mind if I record this? And she says, fine. So for the next minute, she proceeds to stand next to me and show me her phone and show me Bible passages. So here, I will play the audio. You ready for this?
And
yep.
This scripture came up, Luke 13:11. And
Okay.
behold, there was a woman which had a spirit of infirmity, 18 years, and was bowed over. We noticed your back. And together.
Now here, I'll stop it for a minute. She reads Luke 13:11, which says something to the effect that Jesus was in a synagogue, and there was a lady who had a back problem, and she could not stand up straight. And Jesus put her hands on her and straightened her up, fixed her back. And then she says to me, I saw you walk. I don't know if you heard that. She says, I saw you walk and I saw your back. Okay, I'm playing more of the video. Here we go.
You notice my back?
Your back is...
I said, you notice my back? And she says, yes, I notice your back. You can't stand up straight. She's, nice lady at Freddy's. Okay, so I'll keep going here.
What's wrong with my back?
Well, you're walking with stiff on your back.
I'm walking stiff in my back.
Which was true.
So she goes on to say...
And you know why that is?
Why is that?
Because I get my butt kicked too many times.
Oh, well, anyway, this scripture came up,
like,
and Jesus
"Oh,
saw her and called her to him and said unto her, Woman, thou art loose from thy infirmity.
So you're...
And he laid his hands on her,
this will cure my back?
No, this won't cure your back. But this just shows that in the Bible, Jesus healed somebody that had back ailments. And I wish that for you, that he would heal you in your back.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
your reactions. You've seen the video before.
I did see the video.
I'm thinking to myself, I just had the fight with AT&T down the street. I'm coming to eat my lunch in peace, to eat my Freddy burger, whatever they call it, Freddy's burgers. They're not butter burgers. That's
no, they're not.
That's the other place. That's Culver's.
Yes.
Okay. And she was very nice. I'm going to and she's reading me Bible passages, Luke 13:11. Now, what's interesting was,
I'm surprised you didn't say, well, thank you for this, but I'm a pastor.
Well, what's interesting was that this is somewhat of a controversial passage. Do you know why?
I don't.
I called up one of my Jewish friends, and I talked to them about this, and they confirmed that this is a controversial passage in the Bible because Jesus was in a synagogue, and the lady he put his hands on to straighten her back was a Jewish woman, and even more so, guess what day of the week it was?
Sabbath.
It was a Saturday, and the Jewish people condemned Jesus for doing a miracle on their Sabbath. You don't do nothing on the Sabbath. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Right. They do mean that.
Right. You do nothing. And Jesus,
nothing
you come into our synagogue
nothing.
and you perform a miracle on a Sabbath. We're not happy with you. I'm going like, okay, this is just so weird. I mean, it's just so weird. You know, and once again, she couldn't have been nicer. Now,
you thought that I was punking you, didn't you?
About what?
This lady.
What do you mean?
You're like, am I being punked? I'm like, did you think that I set that lady up for that?
No, I thought somebody did. I didn't think you did. I thought somebody that was going to have fun with me did it. I really did. I thought to myself, somebody followed me. Somebody's going to, funny. We're going to do this video. It's going to be like on, it's going to be on one of these YouTube channels. You're not going to believe what happened at Freddy's. Just the other day, we sent in Marjorie, who's our actor, and she pretended to be a Jesus freak, and she was trying to save people.
Freak.
She was
just because somebody believes in the Bible doesn't mean that they're Jesus freak.
She's trying to save people at Freddy's. And listen to this interaction where she talks to this old dude who's 87 years old, who walks around like he's got a coat hanger stuck up his butt. You know, hear what she says to him.
She did not say that to you.
What? That I had a coat hanger stuck up my butt?
Yes.
No, I don't.
I mean, ew.
But here's the interesting thing. I was tempted to say, and you said I acted sort of snarky because I said, you know why I walk like that? Because I get my butt kicked too often, okay? But my next thing
Which is not completely inaccurate.
Right. My next thing was going to be, you know what? I'm blind in my right eye. Can you help me with that? But I thought to myself, no, because once again, I am legally blind in my right eye because back in 2002, 20 years ago, I had my LASIK surgery, which I was so excited about because it was going to be the first time in my life since I was 4 years old because I wore glasses starting in kindergarten, believe it or not.
So did Tiffany.
Yeah, it's terrible. Anyway, because my eyes have always been bad. And I had surgery. And
can you see the big E?
No, I could not.
Tiffany couldn't see the big E. She still can't see the big E.
I could not see the big E for years and years and years. Had to wear, for a long time I wore contacts, and then I had problems with my eyes. Had to go back to glasses, and I hated it because I had the big old Coke bottles, and they, you know.
And it's funny because Tiffany, it was like a comfort to her.
Glasses?
Yes.
She liked glasses?
Probably because she was blind as a bat.
What's wrong with that girl? I have to have a talk with her. No, but of course nowadays the women we've talked about that. They wear the goofy Mr. Magoo glasses. I was going like, okay, honey, shouldn't say that. Okay, ma'am. Oh, I'll get myself in trouble for that.
You have a problem with saying honey to a woman, but not, oh, you look so attractive today.
But that was what we did at the chamber event. You got all upset with me about that because I wasn't supposed to say you look attractive. I was supposed to say what? I look stunning.
You look nice today.
How about if I said, you look stunning today? How about that? Nobody uses the word stunning.
I do.
You use the word stunning? Nobody. That's one of the words nobody uses anymmer. Oh,
that's not true.
Oh, my dear, you look stunning today. That's like some Zsa Gabor movie. You look so great today. You look absolutely stunning. Pardon me, but do you have any Grey Poupon? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Pardon me, sir.
Okay, so somebody's probably identified who that woman is by her voice, and now I'm going to get in trouble. Oh, I know, that's my friend. She lives down the street. She's a good Christian woman.
Nobody did that.
I'm not making fun of her. I'm just saying.
You did not make fun of her, no.
She was, you know what? I tell you, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I love people that have a passion for this. Obviously, she has a passion for Jesus and God and the Bible, and I'm not going to make fun of her. I just thought it was just sort of strange that she sees me walk, and I do have a crazy limp because I've had all these crazy accidents. I've never told you about my industrial accident when I was married, like for 6 months, long time ago, where I was almost killed. Did I ever tell you that story?
No, you have not. Never.
Yes. Literally almost
Doesn't
killed.
Surprise me.
Almost killed. And my wife thought literally I was dead because when she went to the hospital, they couldn't find me. And she thought I was already in the morgue. True story. I'm not kidding.
Or down at Fridays having onion rings.
There were no, not eating onion rings.
No.
No.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
No, that wasn't it. Okay, we have to take a break at 7:32. Talk for a minute, okay? I got to sneeze, okay?
Okay. So, I was going to talk about this. I actually forgot what I was going to talk about.
Well, here, let me.
But I will tell you that I was having a hard day yesterday.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I got this text of this video of my little glam baby dancing to the music.
Wow.
It was the absolute cutest thing. And then I went over to my daughter's house and saw my glam baby and Tiffany, my daughter. And so I was having a little baby meltdown. And so Tiffany was like holding me like a baby, that's kind of a thing we do. And that little child, Harper, walks over and puts her little bitty tiny itsy bitsy hand on my shoulder.
Wow.
And starts patting me.
Wow, because she knew that you were some alien being, right?
Yes, she did.
Right.
Actually, she gets very excited when she sees her grandma.
Grandma, here we go. Okay. Whatever.
She does.
Whatever.
What? Don't you be busting on my grandma name. I have shirts that say that.
I bet you do. I bet you do. Okay. Little controversy here. Apparently, some people, I've had 2 or 3 people who have texted me that said that were criticizing what I said about the Bible passage. So I will read you. This is Luke 13:11. Okay? The controversy is that Jesus performed miracles on the Sabbath. And I've had 3 people text me the same thing. I will read you what it says. On a Sabbath, Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues, and a woman who was there who had been crippled by a spirit for 18 years. She was bent over and could not straighten up at all. That was me at Freddy's. When Jesus saw her, he called her forward and said to her, "Woman, you are set free from your infirmity." Then he put his hands on her, and immediately she straightened up and praised God. Now, this is Luke 13:14. Indignant because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath, the synagogue leader said to the people, "There are 6 days for work, so come and be healed on those days, not on the Sabbath." He was upset because Jesus healed her, but he healed her on the Sabbath. And you're not supposed to be doing anything in the Sabbath.
That's really true.
Well, that's the Orthodox. That's the Orthodox Jews. There's a company called B.S.H. Photo, which is a big supplier of camera equipment, and now they've branched out. They do all sorts of professional audio and video equipment, like really high-end stuff. But it's run by a family of, what do you call it? Hasidic Jews? Isn't that what they call it? The super duper ones, the Hasidic Jews in New York City. And if you go to their website after sunset on Friday, it tells you that their website, you can't buy anything in the website, and you can't buy anything until sunset on Saturday.
Yes.
When the Sabbath ends.
Yes.
So I'm going like, at first I thought this was a joke. Somebody told me about this. If you go to B&H Photo, you can't buy anything on Saturday. What do you mean you can't buy anything on Saturday? They shut the website down. All you can do is just look at stuff. You can't buy anything. I go, come on, give me a break. No, sure enough, If you go there on Saturday morning, guess what? It tells you can't. If you put something in your cart, it won't let you check. Matter of fact, you can't even put anything in your cart. If you're trying to buy, I tried to buy a piece of equipment there one time that I could not find anywhere else that had a B&H photo. I tried to buy it on a Saturday. They wouldn't let me buy it. And I'm going like, okay, they take their religious very seriously. And I'm not making fun of them. They do. But, I'm not making fun of them. But, see, that's deal.
That's so different than a Christian.
Yeah, but
taking their religion seriously.
Yeah, but
No, yeah, but
no. You have what you call. This is not me saying this. This is my Catholic friends. Have you ever heard the term what they call a cafeteria Catholic? You know what a cafeteria Catholic is? Have you ever heard this before?
No.
You've never heard this before?
No.
A cafeteria. Like when you go to the cafeteria, you're in line. You don't have too many cafeterias anymore. But back in the day, you go to cafeteria, you move it along with your tray, and you go, oh, I'll take that salad, and you move down. Oh, I'll take a slice of, sort of like a buffet kind of deal.
Yes.
In other words, you pick and choose.
We all know what a cafeteria is.
Okay,
Brad.
You pick and choose what you want from the Catholic religion. That's what a cafeteria Catholic is. You don't conform to all the rules of Catholicism. You just pick the ones you like. You never heard that term before, cafeteria Catholic?
I have not.
Oh, yeah. I have Catholic friends of mine that kid about, oh, yeah, he's a cafeteria Catholic. First time I heard that, I go, what is that? That's someone that picks and chooses from what they want to, if they, like, for example, long time used to be that, there are certain things that the Catholic, you couldn't eat meat on Friday. You had to eat fish.
Yes.
Especially during Lent and stuff like that. But you're not supposed to.
Yes.
And for a long time, back in school, I can remember that, the school I went to, public school, Friday, it was always fish day. There was never meat on Friday. And one of my friends back in the day when I was a kid, I go, why is that? Well, because they do it for us. We're Catholic. We can't eat meat on Friday. And they threw that rule out. I don't think that rule exists anymore. But see, there were Catholics who used to eat meat on Friday because they'd go out for steak dinner on Friday night, and they'd go, well, I'm a cafeteria Catholic. Okay, fine, whatever.
You feel better?
No, it's just...
What are you trying to justify here, Brad? I must be missing.
I'm not trying to justify anything. I just think it's sort of interesting. No?
Well, do you feel like you got yelled at?
By who?
Whoever was texting you this information.
No, it's just see, I don't know about you, but if you get into a discussion with someone who is a real
zealot,
a real religious zealot, you can never win. It's just
you can't. That is very true.
It's just like you can never win in a discussion with somebody who's either for or against abortion. There are certain things that you can never convince that person. Your belief is wrong. And, you can tell people can say things like, I think all Cadillacs are really wonderful cars. And I can say, well, they used to be, but not anymore because read the J.D. Powers things. Cadillacs have terrible problems. They have all these quality control issues, blah, 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 blah. They're not the cars they used to be. They're not the land yachts they used to be, blah, 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 blah. And you can explain to them that maybe Cadillacs are not the best cars anymore. Maybe it's something else. And just like, for example, I've got friends of mine who are BMW freaks, okay? There are BMWs, certain models of BMWs that are just trash. I mean, they are junk. And there are certain engines in the BMW line. If you get 50,000 miles out of that engine, you have done well. Because what they've done is, back in the day, and this is what's happened with, even the Mercedes, back in the day, they built those cars to be bulletproof. And they, like, for example, if you go back in the old Mercedes had the 6-cylinder diesel engine. I mean, those things, not unusual for those things to get, 8-9 million miles out of the cars, literally. Not anymore, because of the fact that they're designed, with all this crazy weird stuff on it and this and that. Just like, for example, here we go again. General Motors did this years ago. Now they're doing the same thing. They have these engines that, if you're driving along the highway, they turn off some of the cylinders. You know what I'm saying? Chevrolet used to have this thing they called, I think it was first in the Cadillac, it was called the V8 6.4. So in other words, if you needed to accelerate, all 8 cylinders are firing, and when you started to decelerate a little bit, it turned 2 of the cylinders off, and then if you're cruising along and you didn't need all 8 cylinders, only 4 cylinders were working, okay? They are
I wonder if my LTD was like that.
This is Chevrolet. This is not Ford.
I've never been a Chevy person.
They've turned into...
I did have a Tahoe, though. That was lovely.
They've turned into horrendous engines. There's all sorts of problems with them. Terrible problems with them. Cadillac had the North Star engine. They bragged about, hey, it's North Star engine. I think the North Star engine went in the Cadillacs from like mid 90s through like 2006, 2007. Horrible engines. If you get 50,000 miles out of that engine, you're amazing. Matter of fact, there's a guy who sells a kit. Believe it or not, this is when you're a real car nerd like me. He sells a kit to rebuild the North Star engine. He's got a patent on it. And even Chevrolet, like when you go to the Chevy dealer, if you have a Cadillac, or the Cadillac dealer, if you have a Cadillac that has one of these North Star engines in it, and they're going to rebuild the engine, they buy this kit from this guy who's not part of General Motors, because he's figured out all the problems with the North Star engine and he's fixed it. So you buy this kit, and it's like $2,000 worth of parts, and it has tools and this whole bit. And then you put, because they had a problem with the head bolts. Like, for example, Ford had a problem when they went there for years. Ford and their trucks used the International Harvester, the Navistar 7.3 diesel engine. They decided, we're not going to buy it from them anymore. We're just going to come out with our own. They came out with this Ford 6.0 junk with a capital J. I mean, you find me somebody who has a Ford 6.0 diesel, and they will tell you that the engine's blown 2 or 3 times. I mean, they're just junk. And it's certain cars, and it's across the board now. It used to be only certain cars, but now it's like, and especially the real expensive cars, the Mercedes, the BMWs, and things like that, tons of problems with them. Tons of problems. You pay all that money for it. Now, once again, if it's new and you got under warranty, what do you care? The engine blows, you just take it back in, they put a new engine in it. But if you buy it used, guess what? You're screwed. You know what I mean?
I do.
Anyway, how are we talking about that? I have no idea.
I don't know. How do we talk about that?
You started it.
I usually do.
Yeah, 7:48. It is BS.Show. The second song I played, the first I didn't like, but that's a whole other story. Okay. Yesterday, this is amazing.
Not like Be Happy.
Well, it was too long. We're running short here, and we're up against the top of the hour, and I played a shorter song. That was the reason I switched songs.
A boo.
A boo? A boo what? A
Did
boo
you
what?
play a boo?
No. I just had to play a shorter
shorty.
song. Okay. Listen to you. Okay. Yesterday, there was a bill introduced in Congress where almost all the Democrats voted against it and almost all the Republicans voted for it. You know what the bill was?
Probably about marijuana.
No, it was trying to get the federal workers to return to their office.
Good luck with that.
Yes.
I actually, if I would have worked for the FAA, I would have been essential, so I would have been still working. And same with the administrative people.
Right.
They got to work from home.
Essentially, what's happened is, we talked about this last week, that like in D.C., most of the office buildings, the federal office buildings, are empty. And even the mayor of D.C. is trying to get the federal government to essentially say, either bring these people back to work or let us use the offices for homeless people. We'll convert these federal buildings into homeless shelters, okay?
Which would be a great idea.
Well, I mean, they're saying this is coming up on almost, I didn't even realize this when you think about this, almost 3 years, because the pandemic really started to hit in March and April and May of 2000. So here it is, 2023, or what did I say? 2020. I mean 2020, not 2000. 2020. So 3 years later, most of the federal workers are still working from their home. And like, for example, you go into downtown Clayton. Centene built these big, fancy schmancy office buildings along Forsyth there. They have like 2 blocks of office buildings in Clayton now. They're almost totally empty. There's nobody in them.
And they own the Ritz-Carlton.
Yes. Well, there's people in the Ritz-Carlton. That's a whole other story. But anyway, what's interesting about this is, it's like, why would the Democrats say, no, we don't want those people back? I don't understand this. Our country's gotten into this crazy, weird divide where the Democrats are like, it's to the point where like they can agree on nothing anymore. And this, it's nearly every House Democrat on Wednesday voted against a Republican bill requiring federal agencies to end their COVID-era telework policies and force federal workers to return to their office. Is that weird or what? It's just, why wouldn't you want to have the federal employees back in their office? If you're a legislator, because not only that, if you're like, let's say you're a representative or a senator, if you got a problem with something, a question, you go to that office and you knock on the door and there's somebody in the office. Well, not anymore. They're at home. So don't you think that all the legislators would rather have the people there in D.C. in their office where they could talk to them and meet them and ask them questions and things like that? No. But see, the Republicans are saying, hey, put them back in their offices. And the Democrats go, no, we don't want that. Let them work from home. Okay, then why do we have all these fancy schmancy office buildings with nobody in it? You know what I mean? It's just sort of weird. Don't you see that, or you don't agree with me on that?
I do agree. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep my pot down because my dogs are barking. But,
well, you got another 5 days till you can do that legally.
I'm sorry?
Keep your pot down.
Why is it 5 days?
February 7th. That's the day.
What does that mean?
That's the day in Missouri. That's when the medical marijuana dispensaries, if they applied for the general license, can start selling to anybody.
Really?
Yeah, February 7th.
Like they do in Illinois.
Yeah. In other words, you can go to any of the places now that are the medical marijuana facilities that you have to have a card for. Right. As of February 7th. Now, this is if they applied on time. Once again, I don't know if it went through the government, if all the, T's got crossed and the I's got dotted and everything got stamped with the approval stamp on it. But that was the original deal. They had a timeline. Remember, I believe it was December. The thing passed in November, and December 7th, I believe, was the day when it was no longer a crime to be caught with marijuana under a certain amount. In other words, if you had personal use, if you're driving down the highway and the cop pulled you over, you could be like, as of right now,
there's actually it's a lot of pot you can have on you.
Well, as of right now, if I'm not mistaken, don't hold me to this and don't be smoking your joint in public, but I believe that as of right now,
Brad.
No, I believe that as of right now, if you're driving down a highway and you're speeding and the cop pulls you over and you're smoking your doobie, and whatever, you're
look at you,
you got
using slang.
You got you're token on the devil's.
Your Doobie Brothers.
You're token on the devil's lettuce. Okay, so I believe right now they can't arrest you. I think that's the way it is right now. That
they cannot
arrest you because it's been legalized as of, I believe that was December 7th. I'll look that up. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But I believe that was the December, because they had all these things.
So what does that mean? That there's like 2 months that they have to, and the 2 months have passed?
No. What they had it in stages. First stage was it was legal to have personal amounts of marijuana on you. So in other words, It used to be if they pulled you over and they searched your car and you had a little baggie in the glove compartment.
Driving down 44, seeing
right.
Drug stop, next exit.
Right.
Get off here.
Right. You know that. Okay. So it used to be they throw you in jail. Well, now, if I'm not mistaken, don't do this until I'll go back to my old dispatcher days. Check to your own satisfaction. Don't believe me. Right now, you can have it in your car and you can actually be smoking it. Now, here's the problem.
See, I don't understand that.
Well, but once again, I don't understand the whole thing, because the problem is with alcohol, they can pull you over, they can do the field sobriety test, they can give you a little blood, the blood alcohol test thing, the bat test, and if you refuse, they can go take you to a hospital and draw your blood and blah blah blah, stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay. There is no test for marijuana. Right now, as I understand,
they'll come out with one.
Well, but right now, as I understand the state of Missouri, there's no test. So if a cop pulls you over and he says you're driving impaired, it would be very difficult for him to get a conviction because of the fact that how are they going to prove that? If
by the doobie hanging but between your two fingers.
No, but the idea being is if you get pulled over for drunken driving, they can prove the fact the field sobriety test.
They'll come out with somebody.
Well,
we should do that. Let's do that. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah. Okay.
But we should sit there and make
hold on. Oh, you got 4 seconds to say goodbye.
Oh, have a great day, everybody. Peace and I fly.
7:59, barely.
Have you heard about Salt River Automotive? Not only are we open for business and ready to serve you, we are sponsors of the BS in the Morning Show on Westplex 107.1. Check us out on Facebook at Salt River Automotive LLC. See you soon.